So in today's session, we'll look into Power Query's date validation function. So and then we'll move on to hands-on session as usual. So first one, we got is in current date. So this function will be used to to know whether the input date field is the current date that you're having in your local PC. All right. So if you see our current day is 6th of May, right? So if you pass in that particular same current day value as the input, then you will be getting output as true. Okay, so that syntax will be something like this. So date dot is in current day, and you're required to give an input date field. So I'm just using has date to create a new date by itself. So I've just created a current day here, and I've just passed in that. So as you can see, it's 6th of May. So it's giving us true because that's the current date, right? Then we got a similar function which is in current month. So you just pass in the same date field as an input input field. Then it's just going to validate whether the date is in the current month or not. So as you can see, it's basically a current date itself. So that means it's in current month. So it's true over there. Okay, great. So as you can see, we are getting true as an output field because it's basically today's date. So the next function that we have is in current quarter. So it acts like same. We're going to give him input date field, and what this function will do is we'll just validate whether the date that you pass in is in the current quarter or not. So as you can see, it's 6th of May, so that is in the current quarter. So it returned as true as an output field. The next one, we are having date is in current week. So it just validates whether that given date is in the current week or not. So week in the sense it will take from Sunday to Saturday. So as you can see, we are passing in 6th of May. So that is today itself. So whatever days that's in 2nd of May to 8th of May, that considered as a 1 week because it's going to take Sunday to Saturday as 1 week. So as the 6th of May is in the current week itself, so it's returning it as true. The next one is in the current year. So it just verify whether the date field that you pass in is in the current year or not. So you can see it's 2021, so that is current year. So it just gives us a true as output. Next one is in next date. Okay, if you want to validate whether the given whatever input date is really immediately next day or not, right? In that case, you can use is in next date function, and you can see just specified it as 7th of May, which is tomorrow. So as it is the next day, so I'm getting output as true. If you pass in today as an input, then it will give false because today is not going to be tomorrow, right? So yeah. The next one is date is in next month. So it just validates. It will take today as the today's date of month as current month, and it will try to find the input field that you pass in is occurring in the next month or not. So it's basically June 23rd, so which is next month. So that means it's true. So it's going to return as true as output. The similar function we got is in next quarter. So it just verify whether the day that you pass in is occurring in the next quarter or not. You can see it's July, so which is Q3. We are in Q2, so it's true. The next one is in next week. So it just verifies whether the date that you pass in is occurring in the next week or not. So that in the sense, so it will try to see whether the input date field is in between 9th of May to 15th of May. So that's the next week range, right? So it's we are giving it as 23rd May, so which is false as out. Next one is in next year. Just verify whether the date that is occurring in the next year or not. So you can see it's 2022, so output as true. So now we do have ability to control how many years that how many days or how many months or how many quarters you want to validate. So we do have that function over here, which is saying is in next n days. So you can actually control how many days that you want to look up to validate it. So I was specifying the input field. Then I would like to see whether that input date is occurring in next n days. So in this case, I was verifying whether that is occurring in next 4 days. So that means as we are in 6th, so it's going to take a range as 7, 8, 9, and 10. If the input date field is in between these 4 dates, then it will return as true. So as you can see, I was just giving it as 7th of May, so which is tomorrow. Then in that case, it's returning as true. Any doubts in this date function?
No, all good from my side.
Okay. Similarly, we do have for months as well. We can control how many months that you would like to see validated with the current month. So you can just say, okay, I want to see whether the date field is occurring in next 2 months, right? In that case, you can just use in next n months, and you can just specify the date over here, and you can just specify comma 2. That means it's going to take June and July as an validating months, and if the date occurs in those 2 months, then it will going to return as true. So as you can see, I was just passing in June 23rd, so it will return true as output. The next one is in next n quarters. You can control n quarters as well. So I'm just using a 1. So that means like we are in Q2, so you'd like to see whether the date is in Q3 or not. In that case, you can use is it in n quarter, and you can see it's July 23, which is Q3, so that is true. Similarly, we do have function for next n weeks. You can just give in how many weeks that you want to like to validate. So in this case, I was giving it as 2. So that means it's going to take next n weeks, next 2 weeks, not considering current week. So that is, so it's going to take from 9 to 22, because this is the next week and this is the next of next week. So these 2 weeks, it's going to take from 9 to 22. So if this the input date field lies in between these range, then it will going to give us true. So as you can see, we are just specifying tomorrow's date, which is current week, which is in current week. So it's going to return false over here. The next one is you can control the next n years as well. You can just give the same, syntax will follow the same, the date field, comma, n number. So I was just specifying I want to see a next 3 years whether the date is lying in the next 3 years or not. So 2022, which is next year, which is going to lie in next 3 years, so it's going to give us true. Similarly, like next, we do have functions to validate previous as well. So syntax will just go same. So instead of looking for next days, it just looks for previous days. So we do have function for is in previous day, and so you can just see it's basically yesterday's date because it's May 5th. So we today May 6th, so it's true over here. Similarly, we do have function for is in previous month. So you can see it's basically April 23rd, so which is previous month, so it's just true. Then we do have a similar function for quarter as well to verify whether it's in previous quarter or not. So it's date dot is in previous quarter, and you can see it's January 23rd, which is quarter 1. We are in quarter 2, so that is true. Similarly, we do have function for is in previous week. If the date occurs in the previous week, then it will just give us true, otherwise it will give us false. So it's April 23rd, which is not the previous week. It's basically the previous week will be having dates from 25th April to 1st of May. So it's basically April 23rd, so that is false over here. So we do have function for is in previous year. So you can see it's 2020, so that is previous year, so it's true over here. Then we can control n number of days as well, n number of months, n number of quarters, n number of weeks by just using is in previous n days, and you can just specify what is that n number by after comma. So you can just say date, then comma n. So in this case we are specifying 4. So that means it just sees whether the given date is in last 4 days, not considering today. So it's basically yesterday, so that is true. Similarly, is in n previous months, is in n previous quarters, is in n previous weeks, is in n previous years. Now, along with that, we do have two more validation functions. So one is in year to date. So what this function do basically takes all the date ranges from this year's starting date, that is January 1st to current day, and verify whether the input date field is lying in between them. So what it will have from January 1st to 6th of May, and if the input date field is lying between them, it's going to return as true. So as you can see, I was giving it as 2021 February 12th. So this is 12th February, which is in that range. So it will giving us true. And you can obviously validate whether current year or previous year or whatever year it is a leap year or not. So has last year is a leap year 2020. So I've just given that as an input field, and you can expect that it should be true. So that output will be true. Any doubts in these functions as of now? Okay.
I'll just want one question. The output that these functions return, the true or false, is it stored as a separate Boolean data type, or is it like text?
No, it's a Boolean data type. It's true or false data type. Yeah.
Right. So okay. So Power Query does have a separate Boolean type for true or false, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Right. So please open this file. Let's connect to this, and we'll try some functions and observe what's happening with it. So I'll just click on data from here, from table or range. My table is actually till FLE alone. My table got headers. Click OK. Do let me know once you're up till here.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. So Sai, you can see over here, right? This is the data type for this output field. So it's true or false type. Yeah. Great. So we'll try is in current week function. You can just try passing few date fields and try to observe the output. So we'll create date field in the function itself, so that we can change it easily over there. So how can we create date? We can use #date function to create. So to add column, custom column. Let's say current week. So date dot is in current week, and I'll create a date field over here, date. So this will be requiring year, month, and day. Okay. Right, giving us false for 5th of May. So yeah, it's in next week actually, so it's false. Right. So I just change it directly from here to 8th of May. That means we should expect true. Yeah. No, it's true. Okay, everyone done with that function is in current week?
Yes, sir.
All right, so then let's try is in next 10 days. And yeah, one thing to be noted over here is, it always try to take the system's date and time to validate these dates.
Actually, like we have provision to give a hash date and like the date whichever you want, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. In case if we don't give by default, it takes system time date, is it?
No, what I was trying to say is, while validating whether that's in, whatever the field that you pass in this case, it's in next n days, right? to validate this function, what it'll try to take, a current date and time as a a system date and time as current date.
Okay, understood. For validation, I got it. Yeah.
So if you come back later, like let's say 1 week or 2 weeks, so current system date and time would be changing. In that case, these all values will turn up to be false, because we are specifying is in current week of tomorrow, 5th of May date, right? So when we come after 2 weeks, so we'll be somewhere around 20. So that means that particular day will be like previous week's date. So that's not in the current week.
Okay.
So I'll just create a custom column. So next, and is date dot is in next, and this, and I'll create a date. Let's say I would like to see whether today is occurring in next 10 days or not. Let me just do that. Let's say next 2 days. I'll click OK. I should expect false. Yes, right. If I change this to tomorrow, by changing directly from here, let's say 7th of May. Yeah, true. Let's try is in previous months. Let's try this function. So I'll add custom column and previous months dot is in previous and months. Create date here itself, 2021. Let's say April 18. And I would like to pass in whether it's in last 2 months or not. I click OK. Wait. It's true. Okay, now let's try is in year to date and then followed by is leap year. Create column. Date dot is in year to date. Date 2021. Let's say today, and let's see whether that is included in it or not. I'll click on OK. So that is included. If I change this to tomorrow, it should be false. Yes. And whatever they I give before today, it should also be included. Yeah. Then let's see is leap year. I'll create custom column. Date dot is leap year. Create date here itself. 2021. Let's say 1. Definitely today. This is not a leap year. but 2020 is basically here. So it false for 2021. We'll change this to 2020. It should be true. Right. Do let me know once everyone done until here.
Basically, I'm done.
Then let's just close and load to our worksheet. The existing worksheet has a table. I'll place it here. Great. So with this, we are done with date functions in Power Query. So we specifically looked into extraction type functions, which we use to extract, any date values like month or day or month or quarter or week number from the date field. Then we use date increment functions, which we use to manipulate or modify the dates by adding days or subtracting the days from the date field. Then we seen into date validation function, which used to validate whether it's in a particular date range. So any doubts?
Okay,
All right then. Thank you guys. That's all I have for today.